And we're ready to begin. Welcome, everybody. This is Yoel Kortick speaking, Senior Librarian at Ex Libris, and it is March 10th, 2021 today. And this is part 3 of our ongoing series on the authority control in Alma. We had a general overview of authority control in Alma. Then we had local authorities in Alma. And today, part 3, the authority control task list. Before we jump right into the authority control task list, a few administrative, let's call it, administrative points. So I want to remind everybody that we have a page which you can look up, Ex Libris Education Webinars. There's all different ways to find it if you don't remember the exact address. So Ex Libris Education Webinars, that'll find it, and there we are. And this page lists all of our upcoming webinars in the upcoming tab. For example, here's the today's session. And then we have in the on-demand all of the previous sessions, the links to the recordings. For example, here we have part 1 of 3 for the authorities and part 2 of 3 for the authorities. By the way, let me also point out, because we want to make sure everybody has access to all of this material that we're recording all the time. So on YouTube, we have a Ex Libris channel. Now, I'm always afraid to bring up the YouTube when I'm sharing, because I hope I wasn't looking for anything that I don't want to be sharing with people once this pops up. We have an Ex Libris channel, and in the Ex Libris channel, you can look for all kinds of materials. You see, this is slow. This is YouTube, not Alma. Alma is a lot faster than YouTube. So if I do a search here, for example, for Ex Libris Limited, I think that'll already bring it. There's an Ex Libris board game. Did you see that? Ex Libris Limited. Is that how I spell Ex Libris? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this will go right to our channel. Here it is, the Ex Libris Limited channel. And within the Ex Libris Limited channel, you can go right here to the search. And for example, I'm going to search for authorities. And there we go. Look at that. First search, first results, authorities in Alma part 1 of 3, authorities in Alma part 2 of 3. And after today's session, I'll take that recording and upload that one as well. Or maybe I'll take the one from this morning. And then we'll have part 3 of 3. So there's your access to all of the recordings. It's really a nice search here inside the YouTube. Just go to the channel. You can subscribe to the channel as well. Do a search and you're all set. Enough of that. Let's get on to our specific topic. So our specific topic, as we know, is authority control task list. So let me send out this link here. And here we are in the Knowledge Center. And inside the Knowledge Center, we have links to the PowerPoints. And we also have links to the recordings that you just saw on YouTube. So right now, I'm under Home, Alma, Training, Extended Training, Presentations and Documents, Authorities. And I'm just saying that for those who will be viewing the video. Those who are on the session right now, I'm going to send this out in the chat so you'll have the exact link. Send that out, and then we can jump right into our regularly scheduled program, as they say. Okay, so let me send out this link here, Control-C, over to the chat, and there you go. Okay, so now we're ready to begin. There are 2 presentations here. There's one I'm talking about for part 3, which is today. We've got authority control task list, and we've got authority control task list examples. So I've got the authority control task list here. I'm also going to open the authority control task list examples. And I don't want to go slide by slide through the presentation. However, there is a little bit I would like to show. Why do we use the authority control task list? Let's talk about that for a minute. So in free language, before I get into the official explanations in here, it shows what is happening or has happened with your bibliographic headings. Have they been linked to an authority heading, or have they not been linked? And in some cases, if they have not been linked, there's a specific reason. For example, what we call ambiguous. There's another word for ambiguous. I forgot what it is, but that's a common one. And we'll talk about what is ambiguous. And there's all different kinds of report types, which we're going to look at inside the authority control task list. But it's basically to give you a picture of what's happening with your bibliographic headings, and when necessary, to tell you you might want to take action. So that's overall what the purpose is. Officially, it aids the staff user in managing catalog maintenance tasks, yes, and it highlights the authority headings that require manual intervention. Actually, I wouldn't say require. I would say highlight authority headings updates that the institution may wish to check. That's actually more accurate. It's not mandatory. If you never look at the authority control task list, you'll still have a nice repository. But if you look there, you'll see there might be errors in the way you wrote something, and therefore it's not linking. It might be you put something in the wrong subfield. So, and we'll see all examples of this. Let's pop into one. I don't like to show the PowerPoints too long. I know they get boring and everybody knows how to read and has access to that. So let's go into the authority control task list. And I'm going to come here to the resources menu. I'm in the Alma menu, not the configuration menu. I'm in the Alma menu. And from this Alma menu, I'm going to click resources. Okay. So now we've got resources, and under cataloging, you can see we have a link to the authority control task list, and that's what I'm going to click here. So I've got authority control task list, and there are several different types of reports inside the authority control task list. And we're going to look at those different types of reports, and all of these types of reports are documented very well. I didn't put on purpose an explanation of each of these types of reports in the PowerPoint because that's why we have the online help. And if I jump into this link here, we'll see that there's an explanation of each of the report types. So here we have it. I just clicked that link from inside the PowerPoint, and we've got here report type filtering options, review tab. There are two tabs. In fact, let's go back and take a look at them. Where are we here? Sorry, I can't get to the top of this. There we go. I got to move the thing around. Okay. So let's say resources and authority control task list. And there we go. So there's all of these different types of reports. I don't think inventory type, excuse me, here. There's all of these different report types, and each one has a different group of headings. You can see some are dedicated just for GND, which is the German national authorities. Most of them are self-explanatory. However, it's nice to look also at the explanation in the online help. And I'm not going to now go into each of these report types and start explaining because we're going to jump right in and take a look. And every time we get one of these report types, we're going to see that we can facet it by various parameters such as the date, the vocabulary, the field, what kind of inventory it's linked to, if it's linked to the community zone. So we'll take a look at all that. Okay, so let's actually see if there's anything else we want to look at here. I don't think there is. Accessing, I just talked about that. It's got a review tab and an all tab. We talked about that. The review tab is only the ones that may require attention from the institution, excuse me. In the all tab, we're going to see examples from there, includes everything, even ones that everything worked properly. It's just to notify you of what happened, and that's the all tab. For example, a bib record was updated, or an authority record was deleted, different kinds of things. We'll take a look there. But it's not things that require attention, or not even that we think you may want to look at it. It's just general information that we put in there, but it is in a separate tab because not everyone will want to see it. Okay, I think we can close PowerPoint because we're going to go look at it live. So let's begin. And I'm going to go to the examples page because some of these examples are still good. And we're going to start with the preferred term correction bib heading found no authorized term. Now, these are bibliographic headings that are linked to an authority record. They are linked. However, in the authority record, either the second and or third digits are different in the preferred term and non-preferred term. We'll see examples. For example, it might be a 150 and a 100, or a 110 and a 150, or a 410 and a 400, and a 100. So you might be saying, well, how could that possibly happen? It happens, and it's not rare. Let's go take a look. So we're talking about preferred term correction, bib heading found no authorized term, and let's take a look. Yes, I'm in the environment I wanted, so I'm going to say linking bib heading found no authorized term. There it is. So this is the preferred term correction job ran. It went from the bib heading to the authority record, and it saw a mismatch, we'll call it, between the preferred and non-preferred term in the authority record. So it's notifying the user, hey, you may want to take a look at this. And you can see here, I've got 290. I'm looking on the top left in the facets. I've got 290 of these for the vocabulary FAST, 31 for LC names, 3 for Library of Congress subject headings, and 4 for RAM. And let's facet it like I do here as well. So I'm going to facet by LCSH, Library of Congress subject headings, and boom. Maybe afterwards we'll also do by names. Okay, so let's take a look at this first one, Temple of Jerusalem, past, present, and future. Bib heading, that's one bibliographic record, has these 3 headings: Jerusalem and Islam, Jerusalem and Judaism, Jerusalem and Christianity. And I usually try not to take examples which deal with religion or politics. I apologize, but it's just the first one that's coming up here. And let's go take a look at it and see what we mean when I say the bib record is, bib heading is linked to the authority record that has different second and third characters. And I'll let that load. Of course, I'm using the new metadata editor, which I assume everyone at this stage is using. Just going to let that load a minute. There we go. Okay. Now you can see also, I didn't even touch the mouse. It's all automatically on Jerusalem and Christianity. So I don't have to start looking for the field that I came from in the task list. And I'll click the binoculars here just so I can look at the authority record and see what the story is there. And we're going to see that I'm going to have different second and or third indicators, characters, digits. And there we go. So I've got a 151, and then I have a 450 and a 550. I would expect that I'd have a 151 and a 451, or a 150 and a 450, but I've got a 151 and a 450 here and here. And if anyone wants to comment on why I've got that, why Library of Congress is doing that, we'd of course, undifferentiated, that's the word I was looking for when I said ambiguous. Thank you, person who sent that in. I don't say people's names, so you can write anything you want. In any case, so right now we've got an example here, 151 and a 450. Now the institution doesn't have to do anything. And you can even, by the way, we're going to see soon that we can decide which types of reports we don't want in here. So someone comments, X51s are location-based headings. Yes, so I would expect, because of that, I would expect a 451 and not a 450. If X51 is a location-based heading, and a 151 is Jerusalem, why isn't it a 451 and a 551? That's the question. But that's what the authority record is. We Ex Libris didn't make the authority record. This is coming in this case from Library of Congress subject headings. So we deal with it. Earlier form of the heading, someone's telling me. Okay, but wouldn't it be the correct continuation of the flow to later fix it back to a 451? All right, we got some real professionals here. Everybody's dollar NNE. Thank you. The dollar W with the NNE is telling us it's a former heading. But even though it's a former heading, wouldn't it be more logical for them to? I don't want to get into philosophy here. Actually, I do want to get into all philosophy here, but unfortunately, we don't have time. But I would expect them to make it the same, a 151 and a 451. But anyway. That's what we got. Let's take a look at another example. Again, there's no need for the institution to do anything here. I'm glad we got an active group here. So someone asked, 151 is only used if the geographic name is by itself. You don't use a 151 if the name is just part of a phrase. Okay, all right. We got some real pros here. Thanks for all the insight. And let's go back and take a look at some more. So we're going to go back to resources, authority control task list. Let's take a look at another one. It may be before the X51 headings were created. Okay, I personally would expect to see the same last two digits, but okay. We see we've got a pretty professional crowd here. Let me go back here. So now I'm going to unfacet or defacet. And let's now go to an LC names and see what the story is here. There are many LC names, or one of them is a corporate and one of them is not a corporate. Let's take a look at a 600. There's only one, which is a 600. Irving Goffman. Okay, the structure of his sociological theory revisited. Let's go see. Edit. These are non-planned in advance. As you see, this isn't in the PowerPoint here. I'm just kind of popping around. So let me close the other one so we're bigger here. And there we go. So deciphering, here it is. Goffman, Irving. And let's go take a look at this. So here we've got a 100. Oh, this is a 100 and a 400. This is actually a Hebrew one. A 100 and a 400. So here, let me go back and get to that again. I'm going to close this. I think I was jumping around. Oh, there it is on the other side. You want to continue? You're about to. Okay, yes, I do want to continue. Let's pop back into one of these. It also could be, by the way, there are cases where a record could still appear here even though somebody else came and I don't want to say fixed it, changed it. Let's take another one. What is this? Okay. I'm going to let Alma take care of it and not start closing. It'll bring me right to the field I'm coming from. There we are. Geological Survey, water supply, and click. Okay. So what do we got here? We got a 130, and then we got a 410. 30 and a 10. And if we come here to, I know you're all experts, I can tell just by all the comments, but let's just take a look here. If we go into these 1xx's, so I got a mixture between let's go back and look. I got a mixture between a 30 and a 10. The water supply paper is 130, and then the 410 is the Geological Survey water supply paper. So 130 and a 410 I got here. I got a mixture of a uniform title and a corporate name. Could be perfectly legitimate, probably is perfectly legitimate. It's just letting the user know that this exists. Now, if somebody does not want, this is a good opportunity to point out, that if the institution does not want one of these types of report types to appear here in the authority control task list, they can remove them. There's a separate page. Someone says, I correct tag changes. Okay, great. You correct them, I'm asking, in Library of Congress. Are you a NACO? I believe the NACOs go in and automatically change them, or you bring them local and then change them. Person who said you change them. Okay, while he's responding, so if an institution decides that they don't want some of these, someone changes them in the catalog. In the bibliographic heading, bibliographic record, you change them. Okay. I manually change ours. Good work from home project. Yeah. Yeah, that's what the ACTL is for, the Authority Control Task List. People call it the ACTL. Anyway, if somebody decides they don't want one of these report types to appear, they can remove them. For example, if you never use GND, you probably don't want these two GND ones in here. GND is its own type of behavior. We couldn't really combine it with the others. So, although there are places where GND is also in the others, but GND is really specific. So it's got its own heading. So if somebody doesn't want these to appear, for example, you can go to the configuration menu. I'm clicking the bottom left, the cog wheel, COG, and I'm just going to look for it. Instead of starting to search around for it, I'm going to click right here and say AUTHORI authority. There we are, authority control task list types. And if we go into the authority control task list types, if there's one I don't want to appear, like these GNDs, I can unenable them. Anything that's blue here is enabled. If I click to unenable it, or I come here and I say customize, and then I unenable it, then it won't appear. So both of these I'm going to unenable. And I will customize this. And I'm not sure if I need to log out and log in or just go right back in, but let's take a look. One way to find out for sure. And I'll go back to resources, authority control task list. And let's see. So now if I go back to the report type, now I don't have the GNDs because I removed them. I'm going to put them back so that if I show this one time with people who do use GND, I'll have it there. So I'm going to come right back here and just look for a word from there, or authority control task list types, and I'll re-enable them. Great, and now they're back, and save, customize. Okay, so let's go on. Let me just check the chat. It's a lot of chatter going on. Someone says, for a while, Alma was changing heading text without changing tags when that was needed. Doing nothing now. Yes, thanks for pointing that out. Yes, we're aware. We used to change the heading text without the tags. Now we do nothing, and we put it in the authority control task list and say, do what you want. Okay. All right, that's everything else we've got covered. Okay, next. So back to our examples. It's 1627 in local time, and we covered one example. Someone asked, why is GND the only thesauri we can disable? There are other thesauri. No, I didn't disable a thesauri. I disabled a report type. But in the facets, I'm always going to have all of the vocabularies. And it's good we have all the vocabularies. You'll see why in a minute. What I disabled, I'm going back to the resources, to the authority control task list. I disabled one of these report types. I didn't disable the vocabularies on the top left. Okay, next. Linked bib heading found no matches. Linking bib heading found no matching AUT headings. Okay, so in regular words, somebody cataloged something And they said it is, for example, a Library of Congress subject heading or an NLI heading or a mesh, and the heading doesn't exist in that vocabulary. So either they typed it wrong or they want to leave it and they don't care, but definitely something to look for. Let's go take a look there. Linked bib headings, found no matching authority headings. Here we go. I just want to make sure I'm in the right place, and I'll switch to this tab. Great. And up. Okay. So let's say resources again, authority control task list, and we're going to say linking. And which one was that again? Linking bib heading found no matching authority records. A lot of chatter today. I'm glad everyone's so interested in this. Linking bib heading found no matching AUT headings. There we are. And let's take a look at some examples. Let me see. What did I do in my example here? I faceted by nothing. I just left it. Okay. Sorry, that's taken a while to load. The big ones, by the way, while that's spinning around, if you don't dismiss these, we're going to be talking about dismissing in a moment. Dismissing means you get it out of the authority control task list, which is a good idea. It runs much more efficient when there's less headings. Now, here's a great one. Look at that vocabulary on the top left called 15th century. So we've got all of these different vocabularies, 99 vocabularies. Look at that. All of these vocabularies. Why do we have, this is a trivia question, and this is by chance. This is a demo environment that's running all the regular jobs. Why do we have 15th century as a vocabulary? Who wants to take a stab at that? I'm looking in the chat. Why do we have a vocabulary, top left here, called 15th century? Human error. Yes, it's a human error, but let me close my Teams. I see we got messages coming up. Okay. No, I don't have resources. Someone miskeyed a subfield. Exactly. Thank you. Somebody miskeyed a subfield. It's not very popular in America, but other vocabularies outside of LC Mesh, etc., use a second indicator 7 with a subfield 2 to specify a vocabulary type. So somebody probably, let's go in and look at this one. Somebody probably has a second indicator 7, then a subfield 2 with 15th century, and they meant to have subfield X. Is it subfield X? This is a tough crowd. I could be saying the wrong thing. We have general subdivision. We have chronological subdivision. Why? Oh, boy. And I call myself a senior librarian. Okay, so let's go take a look at this one and edit. And see if that really is what happened. Okay, there we are. So someone has a second indicator 7. For example, here we have a second indicator 7, and that means the RB prov is the vocabulary. And here we have a subfield 7 with a subfield, second indicator 7 with a subfield 2. It means RBBIN is the vocabulary. Here, somebody put 15th century. So it should be fixed. But that's not the purpose, actually, of this report type, but along the way, it's an interesting find. Okay, let's go back to resources and authority control task list, and let's take another example. What example do I have here? James McAndrew. Okay, so here I got a name. We can get a name too. Okay, so let's stop the 15th century. I'm going to unfacet by 15th century. And let's see what we got here. Let's take, look at these, all these vocabularies. Let's take a LC name. LC names, wow, 6,387, because I haven't dismissed from here, because I want to have as many examples as possible for showing these kind of things. And let's take this one, Jane Flood. Jane Flood. It's not in my PowerPoint. I don't know what I'm going to get, but it's the authority control task list. I can count on it having someone stating this is an LC name, and there really not being an LC name, Jane Flood. Let's go take a look. Edit. And I'm going to let it load fully. Now, some of these, when you edit, it goes right to the bibliographic record. Sometimes it brings the authority heading list. So here it's going to the bib heading, excuse me, to the bibliographic record. I see here a 100 with a Jane Flood. I do an F3. And let's see if there is really a Jane Flood. There is no Jane Flood. There's a James T. Flood. There's a Jared Flood, but there is no Jane Flood. And it says your entry would be here. Someone says, by the way, I like that new set feature. Yeah, we're going to be talking more about these sets shortly. We're also going to be talking about these sets. If I could put in a plug, next week we're having a 4th session on the new metadata editor, and we'll be talking about that as well. And I see it's a lot of the same people coming to the sessions, so that's nice to see too. Anyway, so here, definitely something the institution is interested in knowing. Maybe they want to go check this author and see maybe they entered it wrong. It could be that they're using LC names and they have a work with an author who's not in LC. That's fine too. Okay, back to the authority control task list. Let's take another example of bib heading found no matching AUT headings. Okay. Someone asks, by the way, I'm going to put this one out without the person's name. And we discussed this when we did the local authorities. I'm going to, ooh, you know, it's always incriminating. I got all kinds of things open here. File new. I should have closed everything in advance. Okay, there we go. So somebody asks this question. If I have, let me make that a little bigger. If I have a local heading that conflicts with an LCSH heading, how do I get my bib records to attach to the local heading? If you have a local authority record with a preferred term that also exists in the community zone, Alma first looks in the local authorities. So if you have, for example, Smith Jim seen from Smith James, you have a local authority like that, and in the community zone we have Smith Jim seen from Smith James, it will use your local one. It first looks local. If there's no match, then it looks in the community zone. Let's go on. So let's take another example. Instead of LC names, let's take a subject one. So first of all, I'm going to choose, I can either go first take a 650, or I can go choose a vocabulary. Let's first take a 650, then I'm only going to get subjects with a 650. Okay, where are we here? So now I got SWD, LCH kids. Let's get one that we all know. Let's get Library of Congress subject headings, LCSH, and there we are. Okay. Church, look at this beauty. Church history, somebody spelled it wrong. Somebody spelled CHUIRCH. So if there is an authority record for church history, it's not going to link because someone put in the record, let's go take a look. In fact, let's take 2 of them. So we see the set. Somebody cataloged here CHIURCH history instead of CHURCH history. And let's take this Manawanua. And here's Mahari Wanua. That's the same bibliographic record. And let's take this one here. So I chose a couple. And now I'm going to say edit selected. And those are now all going to open in a set. There we are. Nice. You can see on the left, I'm in the Sets tab. And in the Sets tab, I have an authority-controlled task list set. And then there's the 3 records. Now, I don't want to go out of the authority-controlled task list and talk about the sets, but I can also go to Manage Sets and open a set, but we'll save that for next week. I believe it's the 17th. if people want to join us. Okay, so let's take a look here. Here's the manua renua. They're using I guess, mana renua, excuse me. And they're using a vocabulary Rio. I only faceted by field 650. And it might be that either that heading is not in the Rio, or they're actually not using Rio, because if they were using Rio, there would have been a second indicator 7, and there's not. So it's mana wanua. Someone said that. It should be second indicator 7. Maybe it's mana. Mana. Yeah, mana was the bread that fell from the sky in the desert, if anyone remembers that story. So here, there is no mana wanua. And there is no mana wanua, so that's why it's in here. Let's take a look at plan a part of law. I'm going to a different bibliographic record. And here we have Farms and Farming New Zealand Otago Maps. So we've got the main heading, then we have 2 geographic subdivisions, and then we got a subfield V maps. Let's do an F3, farms and farming. So there is no farms and farming. There's farms Alabama, farms Andorra, and your entry would be here. So somebody cataloged one thinking it's a Library of Congress subject heading. It's actually not a Library of Congress subject heading, and they've been warned. Let's just take a look at the last one while we're here. And what do we got here? This is the church history one that someone spelled wrong. Just out of curiosity, if I fix the spelling here and do an F3, it's also not going to get it. There is no church history. Maybe there's history of the church, or the church in history, or church and then subfield whatever. History, in any case, there is no church history. It's correct. Okay. I didn't fix the spelling here, somebody said. Oh, thanks for pointing that out. So let's see if there is a church history. You guys are really sharp today. This is a great crowd. It's always a great crowd, but I think this crowd, I don't know if it's the topic or the crowd or a combination, but everybody's really into it. So there is a church history. So if somebody comes and fixes the spelling and resaves it, they'll get it. Okay, let's do a cancel here. If you fix the headings in the bib, let me read that one again. It popped up and then disappeared. So somebody, let me take this one and stick it in the Word document too, so everyone can read it. And by the way, like I said, you don't have to worry that this morning someone said that they don't like the authority control task list. That's fine too. No one's name was given. Okay. If you fix the headings in the bib record and save them, will it remove that record heading from the ACT report immediately? No. Let's do that. Let's fix one and then see. But the answer is no, it will not remove it from the report immediately. You can manually report it by doing dismiss. Excuse me, you can manually remove it by doing dismiss, or the next night it runs, it'll get going. Let's take a look at an example like that. I'm going to go into here. I've got all different environments all over with all different kinds of examples. And I'm going to look for a heading with 3 N's. What do I have here? Alicia Hen. Everybody knows Alicia Hen. It's an example I use a lot. I log in as Alicia Hen, and she's an author and everything else. So let's take a look at what's going on here. And this, by the way, should be linked to a local authority record. We'll find out in a minute. I switched environments. That's why you see different examples here in the navigation pane. Let that open a minute. Give it a second. Been working hard all day. There we go. So you can see now, Alma brought us directly to the heading. And it doesn't match. If I do an F3, there's no match. However, if I do it with 1 N and boom, now I have Alicia Hen local. That's a local authority. I'll select that one and I'll save. So now I fixed that. Let me go back to the authority control task list. Just to confirm what I said, maybe it does get automatically going, but that's the sure way to find out. Authority control task list, and it's still here. Now, next time the linking job runs, well, I'll say what I mean in a minute with the linking job, this will go. But I can already now select it and say dismiss selected. I could also do dismiss all, or I can say dismiss here. Then it's going to be going. Once it's dismissed, now you see I don't have it anymore. Now, when we look at these report types, perhaps I should have pointed this out at the beginning. We have some that start preferred term correction job, and then whatever the report type is. Wow, we got 15 minutes left. I got to move it. Then we've got the linking, and then we've got whatever the report is. So, what does that mean? That's after these jobs run. If I go to admin and I go to monitor jobs and I go to scheduled, and then I filter by repository. So this is the linking job, and this is the preferred term correction job. So after these run, then it sends the report type to the authority control task list, or I could say it sends the heading to that report type in the authority control task list. So when the report type starts linking or the report type starts preferred term corrections, these are the jobs it's referring to. The link bib headings looks to see, is there a heading in a bib record that matches a heading in the authority vocabulary? And the preferred term correction says, is there a linked heading in the bib record that is attached to a non-preferred term in the authority record? And if so, flip it. That's what we used to call it. Flip it. Give it the preferred term instead of the non-preferred term. Okay, let's look at the chat here, but I'm going to be a little more discretionary. I like to answer every chat, but I like to cover some ground here. Here's a long one. I find that some headings appear on bib headings with no match list, even though the heading matches in authorize. It's usually okay. Well, that's something that needs research. So let's go on. So we looked at now linked bib heading found no matching AUT headings. Let's go now to the ambiguous, which someone called, oh, I forgot already. Write it down later. Something, there it is, undifferentiated, yes. Now, what do we mean here? I'll first explain it orally, and then we'll go read it. I might have a author, for example, and say Smith John, and in the vocabulary that is being used, there will be Smith Johns with dates, and there won't be just a Smith John with no date. That's a classic example. Or there may be several Smith Johns with dates. Let's take a look, and it's always easier to find out here. Let's see what the official documentation says. References attempts to find a link between a heading in the bibliographic heading record and the authority records. In some cases, multiple matches are found. Okay. Multiple matches meaning the text without the date. You need to review the possible matches to decide which is the correct one. Let's go take a look. Oh, yang yang. I used this example this morning. It was the first one to come up. Let's go take a look. So we're on linking bib headings found multiple matching AUT headings, ambiguous or undifferentiated. And someone gave a comment there. I said I don't want to look too much at the chats now, but now I'm curious. So what did someone say? Not all ambiguous headings are undifferentiated. Okay, I'm going to make myself a note here to research this whole story of ambiguous and undifferentiated. Maybe we'll have a session just on what is the difference between undifferentiated and ambiguous. Okay, let's go on here. Okay, so back to the authority control task list. Alma does link to authorities for undifferentiated. Ambiguous involve two authorities. Okay. Let's go resources and authority control task list. Copy that one actually with the person's name and just save it in my mouse for later because maybe we'll be in touch. Okay, where were we? So undifferentiated. Let's say here we want the ambiguous. Found multiple matching AUT headings ambiguous. So here we even define what is ambiguous. Multiple matching AUT headings. And let's see, I'm just going to open the first one. It's Sandwich, Mass. Biography. I know Sandwich is a city in Massachusetts. I used to live close by to there. Not in Massachusetts, but close by. Take a guess which state I was in. Close, there's only three options. Close to the state, close to Massachusetts. More trivia. Nope, not CT. Not CT and not NH. There you go, RI, right, yeah. Okay, anyway, so what do we got here? I forgot where we were coming from. Oh, there we are, Sandwich, Mass. Biography, Sandwich, Mass. Social Life and Customs. If we do an F3 here, Sandwich, Mass. Biography, Sandwich, Mass. And these are in the subfield A, then we have our subdivisions, F3. I should have taken the yang yang. That's a nice example. I'll take the yang yang in a minute. Is that the one? I got to see where we came from. I got to pay attention now and not keep going back and forth in the chat. Okay. Sandwich, Mass. Biography. That's what we want to be looking at. Sandwich, Mass. Biography. It also could be, when was this added? Oh, 10-3. That's today. So let's take a look at that. Sandwich, Mass. Biography. Now, this one, as you see, brings me right to the heading. Let me get the yang yang one here. Authority control task list. And bib heading found multiples. Okay, let's go by names. It's typically names that this happens with. And I'm going to say I want field 100. Okay, great. So here's yang yang. Let's take a couple of them. Let's take the yang yang. Let's take the Maria Sezcali. And let's take Stevens Paul, and let's take DE. Now, all four of these, unless, by the way, the bib record is locked by another user, will open in a set in the metadata editor. There we go. So I got three. I had four selected, and I did three. One may be locked by another user. So DE. So there's a lot of DEs. There's DEED, DE Dawson errant, DE with this date, DE with this date, DE with this date. So it did not link. It considered it ambiguous and didn't do the link. So the institution can come and say, oh, I actually meant Dawson Emerson DE, or I actually meant this one, or no, I really do want the DE. Then we've got from DNA to protein. I think this was Paul something. I'm not quite sure anymore. 1652, the time is flying. Oh, this is a Skelly Maria. Okay, so we've got Sezcali Maria. Then we've got Sezcali Maria Vasiyagi Maria, the second one. Then we have Sezcali Maria Magdalena. I just want to look at this one. The fact that it has a on top, yeah. So you see, I've got Sezcali Maria and Sezcali Maria in this one. And if I view this one, I'm going to another one now. I also have Sezcali Maria. So I have the same 100 subfield A in the same vocabulary. LC names, right here, LC names has 2 authority records, both of them with a 100, first indicator 1, second indicator 0 with the same text. Okay, let's go on. This needs to be fixed in LCNAF. Someone says, no, in one of them, the name was in the 400. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. If that's the case, I apologize. Let's go take a look. In any case, that's also bad, because you're saying here it's non-preferred and here it's preferred. It would go like an endless loop. Yes, someone says 100, 400 is a conflict that needs fixing. Here we go. Here we 400. And here we got the Sescali Maria in the 100. And we might even have here it's in the 100. And I don't even know what this one is. But in any case, diacritics don't matter. In this case, the diacritics change into a regular A. This one's different because this is Maria Magdalena. That's something else. But the other two is just Sescali Maria. Okay, let's move on. So, and then we have one more here, technical code for something. Yang Yang. So we have, let me get rid of this side. Okay, so where's my Yang Yang? Let me close. There we go. Okay, let that load. There we go. Okay, so we've got Yang Yang. This is getting smaller. I find a lot of name authority records that need fixing when I review the ACTL. Yeah, that's the point here. So we have a lot of Yang Yangs, different dates. Someone cataloged Yang Yang. They may want to leave it Yang Yang with no dates, but the fact that they have all of these options here allows them to take a look. Let me see that chat. Someone says, I find a lot of name authority records that need fixing when I review the authority control task list. Yeah, that's good. That means it's working properly. Okay, let's go on. Let's get another example here. I'm going to close that chat. AUT record deleted unlinked bib heading. So these are situations, this is less common than the others, but it does happen. Happens more with the local authorities than it does with the standard CZ ones, but it happens there as well. Unlinked bib heading. So you have a bibliographic heading, it's linked to an authority record, the authority record is deleted, therefore it gets unlinked. So the option references authority records have been deleted and manual handling may be needed. So let's take a look here. I'm going to say, back to the task list, resources, authority control task list. And let that load. There we go. So let's choose now. Okay. And let's take this Barrow Luciano, the first one. We're not going to start going around now. We've got 4 minutes. Okay, so what do we got here? Barrow Luciano arranger. Not a ranger, arranger, the person who arranged. And if we do F3 here, this is Barrio Luciano. We only have Barrio Lucianos with dates. We don't have just the Barrio Luciano. So it's not linked. And it used to be linked because there used to be an authority record. Let me just see what someone wrote there. If you click on the Metadata icon above the configuration icon, okay, you can toggle back and forth. Yes, thanks for pointing that out. Good point, and thank you. I'm going to do the hide metadata editor. Instead of going resources, authority control task list, thanks a lot for pointing that out. I'm just going to click right here, and now I'm back. Great. Yeah, that is a time saver. Thanks. Okay. I think we get the point of that one. Let's move on in our last 3 minutes. Preferred term correction bib heading updated. Now, this is just letting someone know that the bibliographic record has been updated, and I'm going to the All tab. But before I go to the All tab, just to show that there are more reports in the All tab than there are in the Review tab, I'm going to look in the Review tab for the word updated. Nothing. I'm going to go to the All. No, and I didn't want to do it there. I wanted to do it in the report type. Sorry about that. UPDATE. There's nothing here with the word update. Then I'm going to go to the All tab, and I'm going to click the report type, and now I'm going to say update, and now I have preferred term correction bib heading update. So I'm in the All tab. Now this isn't something that requires any attention, but it's something you may want to be aware of. Now, a lot of these are things that changed due to the punctuation. Rules, by the way, where you can control what changes due to punctuation. However, there are also cases where a date changed or different things like that. Here, the actual name changed. It used to be Van Dam Pierre Editor, and now it's Dam Pierre Van Editor. So the Dam went to the beginning. And let's take a look at that just to see what we're talking about. And that's going to bring us to the end. Let's go right into the Metadata Editor with that one. And if we go to Tools View Versions, actually it's no longer Tools View Version. Think an old Metadata Editor. It's View Related and then View Versions. So let's compare the Van Dam, the Dam and the Van Dam. So I'm going to view this last one side by side. And what field is that going to be in? Probably a 700. Okay, so here on the right, it's Van Dam Pierre Editor. And here on the left, it's Dam Pierre Van. So this is showing that it changed. I'm just going into the view versions just to show that it has changed, but there's no need to do that. Okay, we are out of time, and I'm sure everybody has more meetings to attend. I will send out the recording of this. I will go to that page that we saw just a moment ago. We saw the page of the education webinars. It'll be there. It'll be on the YouTube, and there'll also be something sent out to the list. Thanks a lot, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.